marketing, entrepreneurship, and all things small business. You're listening to the Jurassic Marketing's Triceratops. Now, here's your host, Justin Miller.
Kevin, we're having a fun go this month. It is. We're filling more guests than ever.
Yep.
And a few friends of mine as well. So this is always fun when I have friends.
You do seem to be reconnecting with people that you've known for a long time, I notice.
It's like the CRM is full of people that actually know their stuff.
Yeah. And want to be involved.
On the plus side, help business owners. So it dovetails nicely with the podcast. We're focused on business owners. So yes, I do enjoy not talking direct mail every week. So we love guests. And last week we had Melanie Rembrandt and shared a lot of good insights about publishing a book and kind of shortcuts to that. So if you didn't listen to that, make sure you go back and catch that one. Also, as a reminder, we encourage you to check out the video version of the podcast on YouTube or Apple if you're looking on Apple TV. And I don't even know where else to find the video stuff. That's your world more than mine. But wherever you're listening, there is a video counterpart. But I digress. We have another special guest, so to not keep her waiting too long, another friend from marketing world. So this is fun. This is Dr. Emily Letran. She is by trade, a general dentist. She owns 2 multi-specialty group practices in Southern California, and she's super smart, as you'll hear in a minute. And she has also, she's one of the busiest people I know, I think. So I was chatting a little before we popped on here, and she's just been traveling like all over the world. And it's not like a recent occurrence. Like this has been going on a while. So I don't know how she does it. I traveled a fair amount and I get exhausted. She seems to keep going. And I know she's had some grueling schedules and she still makes it where she needs to be. Beyond that, mother of 3. So also just crazy.
That's
busy.
a whole job in and of itself. Really.
It is. I speak as if I know what it's like to be a mother. I'm a father of 3, which is a much easier job than mother of 3. Also, author From Refugee to Renaissance Woman, and we may dig into some of that story here in a minute. But the overall topic today will be authority marketing. Emily, welcome. Thanks for being on our podcast.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor. Thank you for taking the time to set up this platform and interviewing us for sharing our stories and letting people know that there's a lot of things that we can all do and we can all achieve. And I just needed to add one more thing.
I was going to ask you what I missed, so this is good.
Yeah. Well, one more thing to my intro. Best mom in the world.
Oh, yeah. Now, see, that's good. That's real good. You should put that on your list.
I can't.
Best father in the world. Don't put best mom in the world.
I can't comment. See, there's nothing I can say that won't get me in trouble with one party now. So
That's true. That's true.
We're going to take that at face value that you are.
Okay.
But yeah, you and I have known each other for a while. We've been floating around some of the same circles, and we've been in and out of direct response world. And I know one of the main lessons that a lot of us go by is it's how to stand out in a crowded marketplace, in a crowded world. And with all the formats of media these days and all the different technologies and ways to get in front of people, this problem, I think, has gotten worse more than it's gotten better. So before we dig in a little, can you tell me a little about your definition of authority marketing and how it can help business owners?
Yeah, so, I'm like you introduced me, I'm a general dentist, right? And so I'm in Southern California, so there are one dentist in each corner, right? And so a lot of time what we think, let's just take a healthcare professional as an example. What we think is, I'm going to put all these letters behind my name, I'm a DDS, MS, whatever. And that's going to look impressive. To me, my experience, 32 plus years, patients don't even know what that means. Most people don't go to your website even, because then they come in and they ask me, years ago, they would ask me, did you go to school here in the US, right? And sometimes when I want to mess around, I say, I didn't go to school. And they
just
go,
what you want to hear.
Yeah, but so even when you have it in certain places, doesn't mean your patients, your clients, the consumers are looking at it. So I think it's your job to put it out there in front of the relevant people, right? So if you're a brick and mortar business owners, it's going to be your local community. You be everywhere in your local community. If you're online, you make sure that you're appearing in front of the prospect that can actually use your service. So authority to me is giving enough information where they go, oh, so and so work with, an expert, so and so has certain certification or credential that is relevant to me, right? And then, okay, and this person is, if I Google this person's name, 10 pages come up on different platforms, which means that I didn't just pay, right, to be on one thing, one magazine, something like that, but I actually am, right, an authority. And so I get invited on different platforms. And I think the challenge number one is actually most people, even though they want to say that they're an expert, the mindset is, you know, am I actually good enough? Right? Some people don't have the courage to um, to talk about themselves, put it that way. And that's what I love about direct marketing and what we study is we're gonna choose to tell people our story, right? And why we do what we do and why we love what we do. And then people can identify themselves, similar to us. Oh yeah, I respect you for having done that. So we make up our own conversation rather than letting somebody else just tell other people about us.
That's interesting, and I guess I think a lot of business owners probably think this occurs by accident.
Mhm.
Like, if I'm really good at what I do, clearly people are going to listen,
Yeah.
and I'm going to get those TV appearances and those stages, and I I'm guessing you don't buy into that being the truth.
I think, well, because I've been in this space like you, right? I know that there's certain appearances that you can buy. You have a PR company and they'll put you there. And then there's certain appearances that people invite you to be on because of your connections, of your expertise. My point here is to make sure that you are in front of whoever you know that you're following, that you want them to follow. I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, so I just accidentally fall into this movie project, right? And it's a Vietnamese movie. It's about a love story, and I thought of it as a cultural project, right? So I want to be involved in it, and I reached out to the Hollywood Weekly, which is a legit magazine in California, and they go nationwide too. And I tell them I want you to write an article about this movie, right? And and one thing leads to another. They go, why don't you just do a whole column and you can talk about whatever you want. And this is the Hollywood Weekly, which is not really related to dentistry. But because I was involved in that project, I decided, yeah, that's what I want to be, right? This is going to be my project for the next 12 months because of this particular movie. So, any of our business owners or professionals, you got to be very clear in what is it that you're trying to achieve, right? And whether you're using pay media, borrow media, free media, you make sure that that serve your purpose. And what I frustrated me a lot is when I'm talking to people, they say, "Oh yeah, I have just paid company so and so, $15,000, $30,000," and then they're not getting what they want because they actually don't know what they want. But I think it's just easier when you appear as an authority that people listen to you.
Yeah, that's interesting. Being intentional and deliberate about being in the right place, because I think a lot of business owners, it's like we were talking about getting our reels online and
Yeah.
stuff. And okay, you got all these likes, but oh, they're their mom and
Grandma.
cousin, and
Your dentist,
like
maybe. Yeah.
that's not gonna do a whole lot for my business. Also, I just gotta ask because I haven't randomly fallen into a movie project ever. So take a minute. Let's talk about the movie project. I think everyone's gonna be curious what that was about. So tell me a little about the movie project.
Well, so this is the funny thing. When I first became an entrepreneur, put it that way, when I first told my story, I wrote a book, right, from refugee to Renaissance woman, and I was told by my coach that I need to speak. So I was fighting being a speaker because same mindset. Like I just said, who wants to listen to my story? This is, a refugee story. And as I got past that, right, then I was more comfortable being a speaker. And a lot of these opportunities that come to me is because I'm a speaker. Like they know me in the community as a speaker. They invited me to come in. So this was a love story. It was based on a true story of a famous Vietnamese singer. So I thought this is great to share it with the community, right? So I came in as an investor, and the next thing I know, somebody I met at one of the gathering came in to be my patient. So I got my investment back.
This was not the primary objective, though.
It wasn't the primary objective. And then I got invited to collaborate with the Los Angeles Tribune, which is real media, right? And then when my friend wanted to make a documentary about refugee, this is the one that I was mentioning to you that get me traveling the world. I said yes because that's my story, right? And it's a documentary, so it features different pieces of story of Vietnamese. The main message is no more war. But what this does is now it's taking me to different stages, different countries. I got to meet the Dalai Lama. I recently met the Pope. Again, this wasn't, it has nothing to do with a speaker or a coach. But think about it. What does it do for your credibility if you have met thought leaders? That is not like you can just make an appointment and go meet, right? And so that goes to being intentional. I think anybody should just follow their heart. Like I follow my heart when I wanted to be in that particular movie as an investor, and then I ended up being on the board of advisor and all kind of whatever it is. But and so I was able to use my business knowledge to help them, finish the movie and get the movie out and do grand premieres and all that. That's all the business aspects that I have learned over the years. But the movie itself is kind of like a project of the heart.
And you can say you've been on screen now too, right? Or been at least credited.
Oh yes, I'm a producer. So
There you go. There you go.
again, it goes back to how relevant is this,
Yes.
right? Because there are people who, that how technology is so easy now, right? People can do their own movie if they want. So somebody who want to put themselves out there, they'll write a book, and then they want a documentary about themselves. I mean, our friend Pratif Shah did that.
Mhm.
I didn't watch his movie, but it's just getting easier and easier to do those things, and it just add to your tools and resources that you can share with people. So I think if somebody have that ambition, and not just to show off yourself per se, but if they have that ambition, certain of those titles will be relevant to certain group of people when you're there talking to them.
Yeah, and I'm sure you have leveraged the movie to things that had nothing to do with the movie too, because
Yeah.
it's a good interest. Um, so let's ignore the people that want to hear their story and hear themselves talk, and they're going to find their way on the stage. But I think most of us are not that way, are
Mhm.
not naturally extroverted to that extent. So we're going to have to be a little more deliberate in putting ourselves out there. And you've mentioned a few different ways to do that. You mentioned book, you mentioned speaking. I guess how would the business owner go about picking the right tactic and or media that would suit their end goal?
Well, it just and we study this together, right? You should be where your prospects are. So let's just say I have a dental office, and I love treating seniors, right? I could be writing, and to start out, let's say we don't want to invest a lot of money, I could be writing a column for the local paper, and I could be writing about something about seniors, right? And let's just say seniors' health. Well, part of your health is your food, and part of your food is your eating. And then in order to eat is your teeth, right? So it could be advertorial, but you should write it relevant where people read it and it doesn't sound like I'm advertising. That could be a very low cost thing, right? Being part of the Chamber of Commerce, right? But so here's the thing. Let's say I want to treat seniors at the local Chamber of Commerce meeting. I don't want to say I'm a general dentist. I want to say, I have a practice and I love to treat seniors from whatever age to whatever age, there are ways now to have better dentures, just for example, right? That's what I'm pitching. So just be a little bit more specific about what you're offering to whatever group. And let's say if I have, um, let's say there's an OB there. Well, we're not going to be very good referral partner because they're probably treating younger people, right? But if they have an internal medicine doctor, that could be a referral partner because a lot of the older people may have certain problems. And so now, if that's the population that I want, then I want to connect to that. So being very strategic in where you appear. So you're not going to go to 10 meetings. You're going to go to 3 meetings that have the seniors or have people who treat the seniors, right? And, you know, your name or your credentials or whatever you want to call it can precede you. I can talk to you and then I'll just send you my CV and it lists all the books that I wrote and all the speaking engagement. It's going to be different than a dentist that show this is his school. This is where he went to school.
Yeah, I think having that message and that target dialed in is super important because if I meet someone in a business setting and I want to end the conversation, they ask what I do, I'll say we mail stuff. All right, just for the most part, that's we're done. We're moving on to the next table. But you
Yeah.
know, if I've dialed in a target for that group, like we help professional, tax people generate more referral business using direct mail, and a little more dialed in or whatever the subset is we're going after there.
Yes, yes. So being an authority, I think a lot of people sometimes they think, oh, I've been featured on the paper, and then they just keep talking about that particular feature.
Yeah,
But
and I'm guessing there's not like a line of people hounding the editor of the paper to write a column these days either. So this probably is a pretty low barrier to entry media with still a lot of authority behind it. That would
yeah,
be my
and,
guess.
yes, but I mean and you know how these days when you search on Google, there's an AI
Yep.
component of it, right? So it's gonna search and see where you've been featured. And so it's also just because you've been featured on let's say you wrote a column on the local newspaper, it's your job to put it out there so more people know about that. So when AI is checking out, the online space, it will pick that up, right?
Yep.
And a lot of people think that, hey, if I'm brick and mortar, then I only want to be in this space. Well, that may not be true because if somebody in New York, let's just say, see me on whatever paper in New York, they may have friends in Southern California and they tell their friends about that because now we almost have no border, no, you can travel and things like that. So think a little bigger, I think would be also beneficial.
All right. Let's talk about then how to kind of parlay that opportunity to a larger end. So the getting the media in this example newspaper, but it could be stage time, it could be TV time.
Yes.
Um, Once that occurs, what would you recommend they do to push people into their world? I'm trying not to go too deep in the direct response lingo, but you know what I'm saying here.
Yes, well, I would say after they get featured, they're on stage, they wrote a book, then they call you up, Justin, and they said, "I want all the" let's just say I say, "I want all the dentists that I want to coach to know about this," right? So the best thing is actually the direct response, the direct mail. I can just mail it to all the I don't know, let's just say 100 dentists in my town and using your service, right? So that I know it's going only to the dentist. It doesn't have to go to the attorney, for example, if I'm coaching dentists only, which I do coach across, across industries. But the thing with the direct mail is because you know that it's going to that person. You can also run Facebook ads and try to direct to those people. But I'm sure everybody know you run a Facebook ad, next thing you know, there's just weird people calling me. I have somebody run Facebook ads for me, and I said I want Huntington Beach. You know, 45 years old plus, right? Because I was running like a clear aligners ad, and Huntington Beach is predominantly white. Okay, I mean it's a mix, but
Uh-huh.
they're more Caucasian, And I'm getting these names of people from Long Beach, which is about 30 minutes away, and the name I can't pronounce, right? So that it's not targeted enough, even though you give them the guidelines. So the other part of this, and this is one of my pet peeves, is people just paying and say, "Oh yeah, I paid that company, and they're supposed to do this for me," and they're not evaluating together with the company to make sure that it actually deliver the result. And sometimes it doesn't deliver the result because the message is too broad or not sexy enough, right? Which is where they should work with somebody like you, because if I just give you a generic message, you're gonna say, "I don't think this is good." Let's get a better headline. So I think for the professionals, for the people who are maybe they don't study a lot of marketing, to make sure to use somebody who are in the marketing space, who know what they're doing, because you don't have to be an expert in everything. I don't. I mean, I can be an expert, but the people who help me fulfill what I need to do, um, it is not just me. It's a whole network of people who have that expertise.
Yeah, and you mentioned evaluating results, which I think is skimmed over by some people. Oftentimes, we'll have a consultation with a prospect here, and they'll say something along the lines of, "Oh, we outsourced this to so and so," like in its entirety, without knowing anything about it and just wanting the result. Which, as a marketer, I'm like, this is like red flag, red flag. So you definitely
Right.
have to still get in there, get dirty, not outsource everything there. Um, Also, as far as pushing people into the funnel in the world or offering the book or whatever, on a personal side, I did for a while a little bit of local talk show. So if you can get those, you're
Mhm.
in a larger market than I am for TV, so it's pretty easy to get TV here if you want. But I was amazed with how much they let me get away with promotion wise. Essentially, got like a 8-minute commercial. I'm looking at Kevin because he's
Yep.
in local media.
Hmm.
I essentially ended up with an 8-minute commercial with a call to action to purchase my book on TV for free, which was
You're filling
great.
time for them, though. You're giving something of interest and you're filling time.
Yes, and that's the thing is because sometimes when you're in these other spaces that they are not real savvy, put it that way. Yes, you will get away with that. You will give them an opt-in. You tell them text here. You tell them call now, and you just kind of put it in when you're appearing, right? So it doesn't sound like an ad. And I think that's a whole skill that we all learn. And that's one of my pet peeves is when people they have a business and they don't think that they should be learning more. Okay, I'm just going to delegate this to so and so, and that should work. Well, it doesn't work unless you actually understand what you're doing. And it's funny to me, and one of the reasons why I do high performance coaching is people would get real focused and nitpicky and everything about, let's just say, dentistry. And then when they go to marketing, they don't take the same criteria applied to marketing. And so we want the person to be always be applying these criteria, always be intentional, always be keeping accountable in everything they do that is relevant to business.
Yeah. So let's tell me a little about high performance coaching then, and who do you serve, and what do they turn to you for? So if someone's coming to you, they come to you when they have X problem.
Yeah, so I actually met my mentor, Brendan Bouchard, at an Info Summit event years ago. And then I got certified as a performance coach. And what it is it's a person with high clarity, energy, productivity, courage, influence. So you become a different person essentially. So I think the ideal people are the ones that are stuck, right? Maybe it's at an income level or, how come this always happened to me? That kind of a
Yeah.
thing. And you gotta look at it and look at yourself first. And I think that the coach is the one that get that person to evaluate himself or herself, because if we just gonna grade ourselves, I'm sure it's gonna be some, high number. When you have to grade yourself with a mentor or a coach, it's a little bit different because now there's somebody else co-evaluating with you. So the people who work with me, they will always increase their income, their net income, and it's guaranteed that they're gonna be happier because then they become a better version of themselves. And then when they're happier and they do better in business, everybody around them will be able to do the same.
Perfect.
I mean, they feel the same, rather. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a few lightning round questions for you before we wrap up here.
Mhm.
So if you're game, we'll play lightning round real quick. We
Of
should have some
course.
sound
Well,
effects.
We
for
should
this,
have some.
Kevin.
I'll work on that.
We are
Since
slacking.
we've now had more guests in a month and a half in 2026 and all of 25, so I got to work on the sound effects and all that.
We got buttons
Gotta
on.
up our game.
Do you have dinosaur sound?
Well, yeah, we have a few. We have a few laying around. It's some graphics.
Dude, don't challenge me to.
Yeah, really. Don't give him any more. We don't need any more dinosaur sounds or noises.
We actually don't have any dinosaurs in this studio other than the graphical one behind me.
Yeah.
All right. So, favorite book that you would recommend?
Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow. All right, we're going back Napoleon Hill. Tool you can't live without. Cell phone.
So
Or two in a row.
two in a
on cell
row,
phone.
same answer. Yep. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the answer most of the time.
I don't know. I love it when I don't have my phone on me, albeit rare. Favorite quote or motto or saying?
It's kind of long, but it's something along the line of difficult times do not last, but great people do. And I believe I'm blanking out the name of the person who said that. But basically, difficult times will not last, challenges will not last, but the great people will outlast everything.
Like it. And then finally, I'm going to forget our fourth one here. Something people would be surprised to learn about you.
Well, they may be surprised that when I was a refugee escaping from Vietnam, we were on the ocean for 7 days, and I did not know how to swim.
Would not want to be there.
No, that would be.
Not even on a cruise ship. That's not, Emily is more brave than I. All right, Emily, if people want to learn more about what you do or contact you, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
They can go to my website, dremilyletran.com. That's DREMILYLETRAN.com. We have some free courses on there. We got some books on there. They can book a free consultation with me. And, I would love to chat with them. I look at myself as as a catalyst. If they know what they're supposed to do, they're not doing it. I'm the one who will push them to do it and guide them to do it. So they actually will do what they know they should do and get themselves to a better place, whether it's in life or in business.
Excellent. And I think we all need someone filling that role. So if that is lacking, I would encourage you to research Emily a little more and what her offerings and courses are. We will be back next week with more marketing content. We have a guest next week?
Well, you have a guest now. We have a guest the next 4 or 5 weeks.
We have more guests. They're smarter than I, so I love it when we have guests. As always, like, subscribe, share, so that it's not just me, Kevin, and our relatives listening. Emily, thank you so much, and we'll be back next week.
Thanks for listening to the Triceratops podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave your comments. For more information on how Jurassic Marketing Direct Mail can help grow your business, visit JurassicMarketing.com.